Hello anybody and welcome to Let's Play Kirby's Dream Land. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and today we are going to be starting LP number 4, a fairly short LP of a little Game Boy game called Kirby's Dream Land, the first in the series. Before we start, this is the kind of game that will, as soon as you press start, it'll throw you right into the game. But before we do that, we want to hold Select, Up, and A. Extra Game! And we're just going to press start and go straight to green greens. And Kirby gets mauled by butterflies because he deserves it. So what is so special about Extra Game? Why am I playing this game on Extra Mode? Well, oh god. Well, all you need to know is that Extra Mode is also known as Hard Mode. It can essentially be called that. I've seen LPs for this game of it in its normal mode, and the Hard Mode is basically the same game but with a few differences that I'll be pointing out along the way, but I will just be playing so as to keep the flow going. This will be a very short LP, 3 episodes at most, and oh my god, as you can see here, this is the immediate thing that is apparent in Extra Mode. There are a lot more enemies, and there are different enemies than there would be in normal mode, which you might not know because I'm not doing the normal mode of the game either, because if the game is similar enough that there isn't really much point in doing normal and Extra Mode, but there are differences along the way. Like, the levels are mostly the same. All the differences are mainly in enemy types and enemy placements. And in my sloppy performance, I just got nailed a whole bunch of times and took a ton of damage. So there's a lot more enemies and a lot more new enemies, and here we come to our first mini-boss, Poppy Brothers Sr. He is... oh. Well, he killed us. First death of this LP. I expect there to be many deaths in this LP, because Kirby Extra Mode is legitimately hard. This is Poppy Brothers Sr. In easy mode, he would throw bombs at you like so, but he would be a lot slower. He also has that charge attack, which is super fast, and the trick is being able to hit him with his bombs when he's not throwing a bomb at you, because his bomb will probably block it, and that takes care of Poppy Brothers Sr. Now, Extra Mode does have a number of differences. Enemies are faster. I know I've said this already. Enemies are different. This weird, terrifying black thing was a Bronto Burt in the original. Those cakes were originally Cappies, which are mushrooms. Those terrible cakes that shoot cake at you. All the enemies that are different, incidentally, like the replaced enemies, do 2 points of damage to Kirby, whereas normally they would have done 1. But in addition to oh geez, enemies also come at you more aggressively. Whereas most enemies in the game just have their normal patterns of movement, there are a lot of enemies in this game that have mild chase AI. And I wouldn't even, lazy chase AI, I guess you could say, but it's not even super lazy. It just depends on the enemies. They're very unique, and they're not all the same. Here we have a cake without its body, and we're just gonna eat it, because Kirby is a glutton. Extra Mode is hard, but it's not unbeatably hard like it could be. It is pretty much a stark contrast, though. Kirby is designed as a beginner's game, actually. In general, Kirby games are designed in such a way that anybody can play them. They're easy enough that anybody can pick them up. Any age, new gamer, whatever. But it's kind of a tradition, starting with this, the first game. That's a maximum tomato, it'll restore all our health. It's kind of been a tradition with Kirby games to always include some kind of harder mode for people who want more of a challenge. Coming down here was kind of pointless, I don't know why I did that, although I don't know why those are there to begin with if there's nothing down there. So we take care of that. There's a Waddle Dee dancing in front of the door. And another thing to know about Kirby's Dream Land is it is super short. So, as I said, this LP will only take like 3 episodes at most. The game is 5 stages long, and we're at the boss of the first stage. Now, I think I said it, but another difference in Extra Mode is bosses are harder. Wispy Woods, our first boss, is usually the joke of the Kirby games. He's usually the first and usually the easiest. But in this fight, he will have rapid-fire puffs, and he will drop Gordos on you. He doesn't usually do that. And in this game, Gordos do 3 bars of damage to you, so those could kill us quite easily. Also, touching Wispy does 2 points of damage. That is not good. But we'll be okay. I mean, we're starting again with 6 points of health. One thing that does make Extra Mode a little more tolerable is that if you die, it'll start you off like in the room you died on. And there aren't too many long rooms in this game. But one of the key rules in playing Extra Mode is patience. Even though the bosses are generally harder, if you take your time, you should be able to do it just fine. You might even get 2 apples. Or you might break the... oh. And it spawned a Gordo on me and I died again. there will be a lot of death in this. I will be cutting if it becomes appropriate, like if I die very partway through a stage and have to cut back, but I think the deaths are a big part of this, and you really got to watch out for those Gordos because they can just mess you up. This is a dangerous fight. You just kind of have to take your time. It's not like other Wispy Woods, and you may have noticed this if you didn't know this already, Kirby does not have copy powers in this game. He did not get his signature abilities until his second game, Kirby's Adventure, on the Nintendo Entertainment System. So in this game, he can just spit and swallow, but that's about it, and that's all he can do. So that actually makes Kirby Dream Land one of the more challenging Kirby games, because in most Kirby games, when you fight against Wispy Woods, it's usually just a matter of getting ability and just standing right next to Wispy Woods and hitting him with whatever power you can get. But in this game, or at least in Extra Mode, touching Wispy Woods does damage, and he drops Gordos on you in Hard Mode, so, you know. However, it is 2 for 2, and we nearly have him. We got hit by an apple. Okay, oh. Darn. I'm not gonna die Wispy Woods with 0 lives left, but this is kind of the point of this kind of is a good example of what Extra Mode is really all about. It's a lot more fast-paced. You have to constantly be moving, as everything else will be constantly moving, and Wispy Woods will be constantly throwing crap at you, and you don't really have time to take it all in. However, there is sort of an element of, or you can get hit by a Gordo and lose half your life bar and get knocked down to 1 instantly. I might game over here. That would be embarrassing. Okay, this is kind of tense, actually. I don't want to game... No! Oh, that was close. Even if you kill Wispy Woods, if you hit the Gordo, if it touches you while it's still on screen, it will kill you. But we beat the first boss, guys. We beat Wispy Woods, easiest boss in the game. Yay. Kirby does his little dance. Am I recording audio? Okay, good, I am. Jeez. We're just gonna be going straight on to stage 2 in Castle Lolo, and Kirby will get knocked into the thing where and immediately we start, and there's a broom hat that comes right at us. You're not so much able to take your time in this stage. Also, there's a microphone. In this game, if you eat a microphone and spit it out, you will kill all the enemies on screen. And here we have Tempura Shrimp, I do believe. That's not a Shotzo. That is a different name. It's a different kind of cannon. It shoots a lot faster, and it's a lot meaner. Why they would have these energy drinks here already is kind of a mystery to me. And I got hit, of course. Those black fly things are terrifying. Those bats actually aren't a part of Extra Mode. Here you have a bomb. You spit a bomb out. It hits stuff and it blows them up. You don't actually swallow the bomb. One of the interesting things about playing this game is remembering that there are no copy powers. That Mask is also a new enemy that did 2 damage. Those flying creepy things are new enemies. Castle Lolo is interesting in that there are multiple paths you can take, and you can also get murdered and die, and... Huh. I'm not particularly surprised about this. This does, however, give me a chance to show off the game over screen, which is really cute because you have Kirby taking a little nap. We're gonna try and wake him up. Hey! Get out of here! However, we do have to start Castle Lolo from the beginning. It isn't too much of a stretch to get back to where we were. In fact, we just need to go through that door and we'll be there. So no real reason to cut. Don't really need to cut much in this. We eat that tempura shrimp thing, and okay, this isn't exactly where we were, but it's close enough. There's a lot more reaction time in Extra Mode, whereas in normal mode, you can just kind of take your time and go at your own pace. This game, in Extra Mode, just kind of forces you to go pretty fast. And with enemies doing as much damage as they do, and Gordos having weird movement patterns like that, fairly erratic, though also predictable if you actually watch them, you constantly have to be watching out for enemies and what they're doing. Also, because this is Kirby's Dream Land before Kirby has copy powers, he doesn't even spit water underwater for some reason. Kirby is helpless underwater, so you need to be careful. That's about all I have to say about that. Castle Lolo, though, is interesting because there are multiple paths you can take, I think, and I never really get the same experience when I go through this place, so it's pretty cool. We will ascend and destroy everything, though, because Kirby is on a sugar high, and when he's on a sugar high, we just need to clear through these skulls, which are also new enemies, and take this star and fly off into wonderful times. And immediately crash. And come to our mini-boss, Lolo, or Lolo, as he's called in this game. He will chuck a box at you, then a Gordo. So the trick here is to just sort of, you know, suck up a block, move out of the way, and just spit it back at him. There's really not a whole lot to him. As far as extra mode bosses go, this guy's probably the easiest. And why I say boss instead of mini-boss, well, you'll see. You don't go through one of those doors, by the way. You just teleport to the next area. And we have blocks we can eat that are there for no discernible reason than just to be there. And we come up to this door. Ooh, this looks like fun. And oh god, ghosts! That is terrifying. Tempura, I think that's supposed to be shrimp ghosts or something. They're not in normal mode. And we get the spicy curry, which appeared in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and we can breathe fire and kill all the ghosts because they deserve to be destroyed. Because they're ghosts. Actually, I really like ghosts. And as the enemies will rush towards you, you can just clear them all out. If you have good reflexes and good reaction time, you should be able to do this without too much trouble. Extra mode is hard. It's easier than I remember, though. Though, to be fair, I did do it recently. All these other doors just take you to dead ends within the same area. So, and then they start you off facing to the left, or was that because I went through the door facing to the left? But yeah, you just want to go through the top door there, because all the other doors will lead to dead ends. And we come to the boss. The return of Lolo, and then also his girlfriend, Lala. These, Lolo and Lala, were in their own game, Adventures of Lolo, where Lolo had to save Lala. I think that was also a game by Masahiro Sakurai, the creator of Kirby. I think. Don't quote me on that, I might be wrong. I'm not really talking much about the boss strategy, but these guys are pretty easy. They'll be pushing these blocks past, but what I like to do is I like to jump behind them as they're running, and then suck up the block from behind them, and then attack them from behind. That is the easiest method, I believe, in taking care of these guys. If you try to suck up the block from the front, they'll just run into you, and you won't really have time to get out of the way. However, we should be able to clear them out, and that takes care of stage 2. And it drops us right onto the thing, and we're going to have Kirby Dance Party. Cool thing about Kirby dancing is they aren't dance sprites, they're just Kirby's normal sprites animated to dance. Because of, you know, limitations on the Game Boy. It's really clever and I really like it. And Kirby has a hook in his mouth, that has to be really painful. However, I do believe that will wrap up this episode, I think. And in the next episode, we are going to be taking on Stage 3, Float Islands, like an ice cream float or a root beer floating. Kirby dances. Isn't this a peaceful island? So yeah, if you want to see the rest of Kirby Extra Mode, I hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye.